Imagine this. You've got 48 hours. Your goal? To talk to as many people in as many places around the globe as you possibly can using nothing but a radio. This is the world of competitive amateur radio, a high-tech sport where operators, or hams, push their gear and their own endurance to the absolute limit, all against a ticking clock.
So how do you even pull that off? It's this incredible puzzle of physics, strategy, and just sheer willpower. We're going to follow one operator's story through a massive global contest, looking at the tough calls they had to make and the split-second timing it takes to win. And it all starts with one critical choice, right before the contest even begins. You see, every contest really begins before the clock starts ticking. It starts with a decision. And for our operator in Japan, with the worldwide RTTY contest just minutes away, they were facing a pretty big dilemma.
Okay, so here were the two options on the table. Option 1, the record chase. The year before, they'd set a regional record using what's called QRP, that's super low power. It's like climbing a mountain with the bare minimum gear. A real challenge. Option 2, the fun run. Just use a comfortable 100 watts, make a ton of contacts, and just, enjoy the ride. So what do? Go for a grueling defense of your record, or just kick back and have some fun?
And to make things even more complicated, the universe decided to throw them a curveball. The radio conditions were looking absolutely amazing. The 10-meter band, which is perfect for long-distance chats, was wide open. The space weather forecasts were perfect. A rising solar flux index and low AK indexes. I mean, that's just a fancy way of saying the atmosphere was about to become a perfect mirror for radio waves. But that great news brought a new worry. If conditions are this good, someone else could easily break that low-power record.
But in those final moments before the start, a decision was made. Forget the pressure. The goal was to have fun and take advantage of these incredible conditions. Our operator went for the fun run with 100 watts, and that single choice set the entire strategy for the next 48 hours in motion.
All right, so the power level is set. Game on. But you can't just start yelling into the microphone, right? In a contest that lasts 48 hours, efficiency is the name of the game. You need a killer strategy to make every single minute count, and this operator had a fantastic one. First, let's get a key term down. The entire goal of a contest is to rack up as many QSOs as possible. A QSO is basically a successful contact, a completed two-way conversation with another station. Think of them as points on the scoreboard. The more QSOs, the higher your score. Simple as that. So how do you get the most QSOs fast? Our operator used this brilliant hybrid method called run and pounce. It works like this. First, you run. That means you find an empty frequency and start calling CQ, which is a general call for anyone to answer. While you're doing that, you spot. You're keeping one eye on a live map of the airwaves, looking for rare, valuable stations popping up. And when you see one, you pounce. You jump over to their frequency, make that quick contact, and then, this is the key, you jump right back to your own frequency and keep running.
And hey, don't just take my word for it. The operator themselves said this dynamic approach seriously improved their ability to collect both contacts and these super valuable multipliers. Multipliers are like bonus points for contacting new countries or new zones, and they can totally make or break your final score.
With the strategy locked in, the first 24-hour stretch began. This part is a true marathon of intense focus, quick listening, and even quicker reflexes. And let me tell you, the airwaves did not disappoint. The contest kicked off at 9 a.m., and it started as a slow burn. Just 80 contacts in the first 3 hours. But as the afternoon wore on and those perfect atmospheric conditions kicked in, the band just erupted. By 3 p.m., it was buzzing, and by 7 p.m., it was an absolute fever pitch of activity. So by the time day one was in the books, the tally was staggering. 324 contacts. To put that in perspective, that's a successful two-way conversation logged every 2.5 minutes for 12 hours straight. Yeah, that decision to go with the 100 watts was definitely paying off. But it wasn't just about the numbers, it was about the quality of those contacts. Buried in those 324 were two incredible catches, all the way from Japan, Station V5 in Namibia and 9J in Zambia. And this was no walk in the park. They spotted these stations hours earlier and had to fight through these huge pileups, which is basically dozens of other stations all calling at once, before they could finally break through. Now that is some serious persistence.
So you might be wondering, how do you even manage all that chaos? Well, one of the coolest tools in the modern radio toolkit is the waterfall display.
Instead of just listening, you can actually see the radio signals. Each one of those little vertical lines is a conversation happening in real time. It's amazing. And our operator was using this tool like a pro. Think of it like having a zoom lens for radio waves. When the band was quiet, they'd use a wide 40 kilohertz view to scan for any blip of a signal. But once things got crowded, they'd zoom in, narrowing the focus to just 10 kilohertz. This let them operate with surgical precision, clicking on a super faint signal and getting it tuned perfectly on the very first try. So, day one was a huge success, but a 48-hour contest is an extreme test of endurance. On day two, fatigue starts to set in, and that's when you can make some really critical mistakes. After hours and hours of operating at peak performance, fatigue started creeping in, and in a contest this intense, even a tiny moment of doubt can lead to a huge, irreversible error. So here's what happened. A really faint signal pops up from a station in Western Australia. Now this was a huge deal because it was in Zone 29, a very rare geographic multiplier. Getting a new zone is like hitting a jackpot for your score. So our operator calls out, but hears nothing back but static. Thinking the contact failed, they didn't log it and moved on. It wasn't until much later that they tried calling that station again. The response they got back was just crushing. You are a dupe, a duplicate. That first call had gone through, they just never heard the confirmation.
You can just feel the pain in the operator's own words. In the world of contesting, a mistake like that is absolutely gut-wrenching. A precious multiplier, just gone.
But you know what? Even after that frustrating loss, they didn't give up. The final push on Monday morning was a real grind, just sifting through an ocean of duplicate stations hoping for one new contact. But by fighting for every single QSO right up to the final bell, they blew past their original goal, finishing the 48-hour marathon with over 700 contacts, an absolutely incredible result.
So after all the dust settled, the operator took a moment to reflect, not just on the score, but on the technology itself, and exactly why they love this particular way of communicating so much.
See, the contest used a digital mode called RTTY, or radio teletype. It's a classic. You can actually see the text showing up on your screen character by character as it's being sent. It's very different from some of the newer, super popular modes like FT8, which are almost completely automated and feel a lot less like a real direct conversation.
And that really gets to the heart of it for this operator. The magic is in that interaction. The fact that you can hear the signal, that you can see the words forming in real time, that direct human connection is what makes this hobby so much fun. Way more than any automated exchange ever could be.
And that leaves us with this really interesting, lingering question. In a world that's rushing more and more towards automation, what's the value of a mode that actually requires more hands-on skill, more focus, more humanity? It's a great question, not just about radio, but about technology and what we really want from the things we do for fun. What do you think?